Refill my water real quick.
Go ahead.
Be the preacher.
Go ahead.
I ain't gonna preach.
Deacon Javi.
Nope, I ain't nobody, I ain't do nothing.
Listen, the Lord put you here, so you better use it.
Hey y'all, welcome to the Jump Off. So we were discussing something and I figured we'd capture it on camera to include you all in the conversation.
Feels real natural now, don't it?
Yes.
Ignore all of this stuff back here. Who are you?
Who am I? Who am I? No, I'm just kidding. Hey everybody, my name is Javi. I'm from Maryland, DMV, what's up? And I'm a Pisces. I used to work with you.
Now we work at the unemployment. Okay, so Javi brought up a good point about black women in the Black Lives Matter movement.
As important as it is to say George Floyd's name, it's also important to say Briana Taylor's name. And I know, like, the whole thing was that we were talking about how black men may be the first thought or front face of some of the brutality and the death, which is all terrible across the board. But it's also important to remember all the other segments and like pieces of the black community. It's not just black men, it's black women, it's black trans lives that all matter. Being able to list, just from example, a litany of black male names of men who have died from police brutality. But then you ask someone to name the same number of black women who have died from police brutality. And they can't do it. It hurts to see how black women will show up for everybody else, for all of their movements, but when it comes time to get support themselves, not even black men sometimes will show up. And it hurts to see that.
Tambourine.
I was also talking about how, like, for black women, sometimes you're asked to choose. I'm speaking from a place of privilege as a cis white man.
They got him, Mrs. Kim.
They got me. Oh no. I feel like that episode of Atlanta. He's like, I'm a 35-year-old white man.
Oh, I did see that.
We cut that out. As I was saying, I am speaking from a place of privilege. As a cis, heterosexual, black male. Oftentimes in some movements, you are made to choose between some of your identities, whether it be being black or being a woman or identifying as a woman. That's not fair. You can go back to early movements like the suffrage movement. Yes, it was for gender equality and the right for women to vote, but black women showed up in those movements, but they were not given the same respect. And once specific demographics of women got that right, they said, okay, no, we're good. You may not be able to vote, or you may not still have that right, but we'll get to that later. So often having your needs pushed aside.
People will say her name, but then
Right.
it stops after that hashtag is there.
It was something that really struck a chord with me, especially when I was out 2 days ago.
Out of the protest.
Out of the protest, yes. They would be like, say his name.
Oh.
They started, there was another chant that was soon started after. It was like, say her name. There's so many names. And I think one of the most powerful chants that I've heard, say their name, and the response is, which one? George Floyd, yes, don't forget, Briana Taylor.
When I read about that, I don't know if because there was no video to accompany it, people can't visualize or like connect that there. Any type of murder or any type of death in any way, to me, like, my mind can't fathom it. So I think that's why I'm kind of like, I have to read more to try and like understand. But to literally be in your house asleep and to get killed, and you like that to me was like the why we didn't do nothing after that. Like, because this conversation started with, I think I said something like, I'm gonna say this and I feel like people are gonna be like, well, but I was like, why was it that after witnessing George Floyd's death did all of this? Because I think we're about to witness a shift in the world. But why was it after that one that and you made a good point, you said, it was from police, like, because I also brought up Ahmaud, and that was from civilians.
And then that video surfaced months later after in February. maybe because we didn't have a video of like Briana Taylor.
There's someone else, and that one I didn't even hear anything of because there were 4 that happened.
Yeah.
Like in the quarantine that we know of.
Right, and they're still happening right now. I had seen somewhere that someone was talking about it really was not like a perfect storm, but you have all these people who are unemployed, out of work, who like
have the time.
It's like there's so many things wrong, and then it happened.
Black folk was like, Corona, you can wait.
It's the halftime.
You said you grew up in Maryland.
Yes.
And
halfway in between Baltimore and DC. I'm from Howard County, and then lived in Laurel before I came out here.
That means nothing to me, but
went to UMDCP. Was good College Park. Kind of park.
We don't glorify. Did he make? Where is he at?
He's from like the Atlanta College Park.
I know, but did he say anything? Because we got the silence.
It's celebrity. It's been rough because people who are silent, and then you have people like Trina who.
What I didn't get to see.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that later.
As a black woman, let me stop.
I mean, like she criticized the protests and also referred to people as animals, and like it's a whole thing that I think you should listen to the interview, and then we'll circle back to that.
This is also important because before I said everybody's approach is going to be different. I think there is fear on both sides with non-black people as well as black people. Like I want to be a part of the protest, but for me, I feel like, I don't know, safety-wise, what I see, I know that's being blown out of proportion, but you never know. But then I'm also like, my brothers and sisters are being killed, so how can I be afraid? But I'm doing what I can from the things that I have and what, speaking and, making the videos, and trying to educate people and talk to people directly. But then there's also, I'm seeing fear from black folks to be not a part, like, obviously as a black person, you kind of have to be in the Black Lives Matter. You kind of got to be for it. I'm seeing people fearful, and so I don't know about Trina, but I think some black people are not afraid to be a part of the movement, but they're afraid to. Somebody said this before in past protests, people had jobs, so they had something to lose. Now a lot of people don't have anything to lose because we ain't got no job. Not saying everybody, but we don't have to be nowhere, so there's no reason why. It's that, like, I don't want to speak up because I don't want to look a certain way, or I don't want to come off a certain way, or I don't know what image I'm going to be projecting. And that's interesting, but that's another video for another time. That's what the first thing that popped when you said that. I was like, I wonder if she feels like, because a lot of celebrities and things, like, if you, like Leah Michelle, is that her name from Glee? You do something and it's brought back up and you lose deals and sponsorships of things. And even John Boyega, how he said, I might not have a career after this, but F it.
In John Boyega's case, plenty of filmmakers and people came out and supported him.
Yeah, I saw Jordan Peele.
I believe Olivia Wilde. People came in support. Now, Leah Michelle, I watched only a few episodes of Glee when it first came on. Not to say that I'm not surprised.
I think some people want to say something. They might be afraid if they say something, because that's the thing. Fear is a big part of this as well.
Yes, fear could be a part of it. But then you also have people like Seth Rogen. Did you see what he was doing in his comments when he posted Black Lives Matter? People were coming at him from all different sides. And are we allowed to curse on here? Okay, cool. But essentially, he was saying, like, fuck off, stop watching my movies. If they were protesting, and be like, no, all lives matter, or say, like, things that would, that are in opposition to literally what's going on right now. So they are posting, and they're showing support. They have to do more than just post a black square, though. There was someone who posted a black square, but, like, did it with like a white border so it could fit the aesthetic of the Instagram, and I'm like, is that really what we want to do?
Who did that?
No, don't even worry about
it. Who did that?
I ain't worried.
Somebody we know.
It's nobody we know. I think fear is definitely playing a key, but I think it's also important to do what you can, with what you can and as much as you're comfortable with. I think educating yourself is key. Watching specific black content. Don't go to Netflix and watch The Help. Don't watch Green Book. Don't watch Crash. That's not helping at all.
You can check out the other video that I did. Gives you some quick things to do if you want to educate yourself as a non-black person.
Like, there have been plenty of writers, producers, directors who have been sharing content about and from black creators, black artists that are great educational tools.
And I think a lot of people are looking at the black creators and content now, like that's being produced now, and in the past like 10, maybe 20 years. We've been here before that. You gotta dig into the stuff that makes you uncomfortable.
There's a lot there, and there's a lot to unpack because this is not something that is recent. It's a lot, and again, I just kind of want to circle back to the earlier point, is to not overlook and show appreciation for the black women, for the members of the black LGBTQIA community, for the black trans community. There are, and I mean, it goes beyond just that because there are other communities also coming out and showing out. Members of the Latinx community, the Asian community. There are communities all across the world showing out. And it's important to acknowledge that, and we've got to keep that up from here. We can't let this die out. It could possibly be a turning point, but it's only going to be a turning point if we make it so.
But I want to thank you for coming on the Jump Off. Follow Javi
at here. And I guarantee, is there anything going to actually be here?
Yeah, it's going to be
okay.
I'm just kidding.
Swoop. This was very impromptu. I was not prepped for this at all.
It's okay, but you held your own. You held your own.
Someone's going to end up in my mentions.
No.